my god, the Reddit people. There was no Reddit back then. Hey everyone, this is Elise here with a new episode with a new guest, my talented friend and owner of Little Stab Studios, Sarah. Check out her work at littlestabstudios.com. She's here to tackle the mystery of the Georgia Guidestones with me, America's Stonehenge. Let's start again. So today I have a guest, and her name is... Can I say your name?
Yeah, it's fine.
Sarah.
It's so easily identifiable.
And so, can you say how we know each other?
Yeah, well, we met way too long ago, 2008, at Temple Japan campus in Tokyo. And we've been friends for, 12 years. Not that old yet. 12 years.
It's super long time.
Yeah, we've been through a lot, and we lived together for, a year?
Yeah.
About a year.
Yeah.
And then went our separate ways for a little bit when we were settling down with our respective spouses. Unfortunately, are not married to each other. Unfortunately. You know me pretty well. You've seen me at my worst, I think. I hope.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe it's gotten worse. I don't know.
Maybe like the peak of like my alcoholism. Oh my god. I think I'm gonna leave that there. I don't care.
Your choice. You can get what you want. For the mic.
I know, I can't talk without saying that's what she said or thinking about it. This is very
I'll
difficult.
try to... I assume cursing is supposed to be minimal.
Oh no, it's okay. It's you can say whatever you want.
I don't know.
This is like HBO.
Yes.
This is like, what's it called? Like Michael says, this is like Eddie Murphy and Raw.
Yes.
Oh my god. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is something that I actually hadn't heard about. Although it seems that some people have heard about it a lot, but for me it was the first time, and oh my god. And hold on a second. I'm getting so distracted. Hold on a second. Okay. And it's called the Georgia Guidestones. People call it America's Stonehenge.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at a picture of it, I think you would know why they say that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you saw the picture, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah. So
Unwired.
Yeah. Oh. So it could be maybe the strangest monument, I think, in America, and it's over some barren ground in northeastern Georgia. And it's in a star pattern. It's 5 huge slabs of polished granite, and each is 16 feet tall, and 4 of them weigh over 20 tons a piece.
Wow.
So together, these pieces support a 25,000-pound capstone. And of course, this really does look like Stonehenge, except that it's newer. It was built in 1980. And according to what people say, I think they are quietly awaiting the end of the world as we know it. So no one is quite sure about the minds that specifically came up with the idea of this monument. So it's very cryptic. But what we do know is that the story of the Georgia Guidestones began on a Friday afternoon in June 1979, when a reportedly elegant-looking gray-haired man who introduced himself as Robert C. Christian went to the offices of Elverton Granite Finishing Company to commission the structure And according to what he said, he was a representative of
a small group of loyal Americans.
That already sounds weird. So he explained that the stones would function as a compass, a calendar, and a clock, and they should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events. And
sounds legit.
So he said that he had gone to Alberton because it is a granite capital of the world, apparently, and he believed that its quarries produce the finest stone on the planet.
It does have a lot there.
I did not know this at all.
Oh, yeah. My parents, and they live out in North Carolina, and all along that part of the Appalachians, you do have a lot of quarries. I remember when we lived in the Raleigh area, we didn't live too far from one, and you would hear the explosions from when they're blasting.
Wow.
Sometimes. They got a lot of good granite over there. So the area makes sense, yeah.
Apparently, this guy wanted something to withstand, as he said, catastrophic events. So I guess he went to the right place.
Yeah.
So this man, who introduced himself as R.C. Christian, he went to talk to the president of the company named Mr. Fenley, dismissed him because he says he was trying to get out of his office, but when he heard about the specifications that this man had for the commission monument, he was intrigued, although a little bit concerned because it sounded a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So this man, he was asking for stones that were larger than any that had been quarried in the county. And he also wanted them to be cut, finished, and assembled into a very strange, specific, symbolic shape, which was also supposed to be an astronomical instrument. So they interviewed Mr. Fenley.
Fenley?
Yeah, they introduced Fenley, and he said,
"So I was thinking, I got a nut in here now. How am I going to get him out?"
He attempted to discourage the man by quoting him a price that is many times higher than it should have been, and of course many times higher than any project commissioned there before, because it would require special tools, heavy equipment, and paid consultants. But Christian didn't seem fazed by the quote. Rather, he asked him how long it would take. Fenley said that he wasn't sure, but he estimated about 6 months at least. And he even said that he wasn't even sure if he would do it because it would cost too much to take on. So he's trying to discourage him, I guess. It's too much of a project.
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks like the stones were cut to size, and you have to find an area in the mountain that you can cut into.
Yeah.
And so getting something that big, and it's one piece, you don't get to put it apart like Legos. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, how to carry it and even up there and everything. So R.C. Christian still seemed convinced that he wanted to continue to commission this project, and he asked Fenley if he knew a trustworthy banker in town that he could go to work with. And Fenley saw it as a chance to send it off to Granite's Citibank's president called Wyatt Martin. This is Martin.
So Fenley called me and said, "A kook over here wants some kind of crazy monument."
Martin says.
But when this fella showed up, he was wearing a very nice, expensive suit, which made me take him a little more seriously. And he was well-spoken, obviously an educated person.
In an intriguing turn, R.C. Christian told Martin that this was not actually his real name, but a pseudonym.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. I like how he just told him outright.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Not sketchy at all. He added that his group had been planning this secretly for 20 years, and they wished to remain
anonymous forever.
After Christian explained what he wanted built, the specifications and the purpose, Wyatt Martin openly told him that it would be a waste of money, to which Christian shook his head as if disappointed and said,
"You don't understand."
As the man's attitude didn't waver in its seriousness, Martin started to follow along, and the man said that he would go off on a charter plane to look for locations from above and promised to return in 1 week. He did return, but Martin told him that he couldn't trust him to be able to pay for this insane amount of money for the commission, so he would need to verify his identity first.
At least he's going about it pretty good.
So they reached an agreement that Christian would reveal his real name if Martin signed a confidentiality agreement pledging to never disclose the information to another living soul, which is something that he did keep. He agreed to destroy all documents and records related to the project when it was finished. According to an interview to Martin in 2008,
he said he was going to send the money from different banks across the country because he wanted to make sure it couldn't be traced. He made it clear that he was very serious about secrecy.
What do you think so far?
I mean, it sounds kooky, but it sounds like I could understand some people who do this.
So he was able to verify his identity. Everything was okay. And the man met again with Fenley and presented the contractor with a shoebox containing a wooden model of the monument that he wanted, plus 10 or so pages of detailed specifications. After the commission...
knows what he wants?
What?
Sorry. He knows what he wants.
Yeah, very detailed. I mean, over 10 pages. And everything is in shoebox.
Was it double-spaced?
With all... Remember, like, in school?
Yeah.
Everything double-spaced and, like, font 16 or something. So, after the commission was settled and the land purchased, Christian left without even a handshake, saying,
"You'll never see me again."
After this, he would communicate only through letters, which were never sent from the same city twice.
Wow.
So the astrological specifications for the Guidestones were so complex that, according to the University of Georgia, Fenley had to retain the services of an astronomer from this college, from this university, to help implement the design. So one of the most perplexing design features is a message consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles that are engraved in 8 different languages. Moving clockwise around the structure, these languages are English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian.
So you got all the major communist players.
Yeah.
Good.
It's weird, right? I mean, he said he's a...
Well, this is in 1980, so it would have been at the height, of Cold War tensions still. It makes sense that they picked those. I'm surprised they didn't go with German as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they put something like Swahili.
Well, you want to get all the continents just in case, right?
That's true. It does kind of cover everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you got a couple... Hindi and Chinese would get Asia, Arabic and Hebrew, Middle East, Spanish, English, North and South America, Swahili and Russian. The rest of the globe. It doesn't matter who's left standing then. If the Russians bombed us or if we bombed the Russians, somebody could read these stones.
Yeah. By the way, whenever I hear or read the word Swahili, I just think of the Lion King.
They didn't have the Lion King then. Like, he didn't know how important this was. I mean, did he have, Then I could understand it.
I wonder though, where did he actually get the translations? If they're legit.
I assume so. Didn't have Google Translate, so he had to talk to real people.
Okay, so I went to Reddit, of course, number one source of knowledge.
Yeah.
And wow, this has a lot of stuff. There's so many posts about this. And okay, so they have a lot of, subreddits about conspiracies.
Yeah.
Right? And some of them are subreddits called conspiracies, and stuff like that. It's all pretty much the same thing though. And some people are just, just joking around. But then there's the ones that are very serious. And they say that, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but apparently this guy, this man, Christian, he got help from someone in the UN to translate this.
What?
I've read that in different sources though, but I don't know.
Maybe.
It sounds weird. I mean, this is Reddit, so it's gotta be real. Okay, so...
I mean, yeah, they'd have a lot of translators, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and he seemed pretty serious too. And he's investing a lot of money in this.
And also, I would assume if the languages weren't correct, it would have been exposed by now.
True.
Because the pictures are all over the internet, and people would be like, hey, I speak, Hindi or Hebrew, and, this is bullshit or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. I was worried about if it being like, when people get those Chinese characters as tattoos. But I guess not. Okay, so another thing that's another thing that's pretty weird is that the guidelines, these 10 guidelines, are very interesting. And I think that it makes sense to actually read them from 10 to 1. So tell me what you think, okay? So number 10, it says, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature.
That sounds biblical.
Yeah, he says it twice too.
Like Revelations or something.
Yeah, actually, some people kind of connect the stuff that's in here to some biblical passages. Number 9, it says, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Number 8, it says, balance personal rights with social duties. All of a sudden, it got pretty practical.
Yeah, that seems legit. Although it also seems a little bit anti-communist because we're talking about personal rights.
True.
Like, you don't want to be too focused on one or the other.
7, it says, avoid petty laws and useless officials.
Republican.
This reminds me of what someone says.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Number 6. Can you read it? Because
okay.
And number 6, I'm having some trouble reading, so I'm going to ask for your help. I'm not sure what's going on with me. There you go. Okay.
Number 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
There we go. Yeah. Number 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
You can get with that one.
Yeah, it all sounds pretty reasonable. I mean, the first...
Some of it.
Yeah, well, 10, 9 seems a little bit, I don't know, what's that called? A more hippie-ish.
But yeah, like they were on something when they came up with them.
Yeah, it's like peace and love kind of stuff. And
yeah.
Now they're starting to sober up. Number 4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason.
Tradition.
Number 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. Okay.
Do they mean make English the official language?
Oh my god. Can you...
Like, this is a lot of work to translate. Let's go with one, guys.
I didn't even think of that. I just thought they were going to make something up.
And they could, because Esperanto was pretty fun back then.
I was just thinking, yeah, that was the one. I was thinking there was something that sounded...
That was really cool, right?
Yeah, and it never caught on.
It did in the Soviet Union.
What?
Because you weren't allowed to learn English. So everyone was like, I'm going to learn Esperanto and I'm going to be able to talk with everyone when I get out of the USSR. And then they get out and no. And they're like, what are you saying? Let's go with Russian. I got somebody who could translate for us.
I thought Esperanto was like 90s or something.
I know it was still when there was the Soviet Union because they weren't allowed to learn English or French or, bourgeoisie languages. Right. So,
okay.
Number two.
Number two. Guide reproduction. Number two. I'm 12. Okay, number two. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
Oh my god, that's a little bit too Hitler Youth for me.
Exactly. I like how it started, pretty peace and love. Then it got, I guess, maybe trying to be reasonable. And now
we're getting into eugenics.
Exactly. And number one, which is the one that
controversial.
Yeah. That's why I said 10 to 1. Maybe you should read that one out loud.
Number one, maintain humanity under 500 million and a perpetual balance with nature. So if this, 1980, probably like 3 billion, 4 billion?
Yeah, around that time, it would mean like 20% of the population
would survive.
Speaking Esperanto.
I wonder what color people they wanted to get rid of. Just wondering.
So
I'm sure there's good intentions only.
Yeah. See, it starts to get weird, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then it got weird. Yay, I made it.
You said the title.
That just came out of nowhere, too. God, I'm a genius. So aside from this, there's an additional ledger that is set as some type of huge table. And it lists the structure, the languages used on it, various facts about the size, weight, and astronomical features of the stones, the date it was installed, and the sponsors of the project, which are referred to as a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. Still not very informative. Also, it lists the author as R.C. Christian, parentheses, a pseudonym. But the word pseudonym is misspelled. They wrote it as P-S-E-U-D-O-N-Y-N.
Huh.
Which is pretty cryptic. I mean, considering that they're very specific with everything wisely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it refers to a time capsule buried under the tablet. It says, time capsule, placed 6 feet below this spot, to be opened on, and that's it.
That's mean.
It doesn't say, anything after that. It doesn't say what's in the time capsule or anything. It doesn't even say when to open it.
Of course.
And around the edges of this tablet, there are written translations. And this time, though, they are in 4 ancient languages. Babylonian, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Ancient Egyptian in hieroglyphs.
Good choices.
And, it became pretty popular. And Martin, who was interviewed before his death, said, we'd have people from Japan and China and India and everywhere wanted to go up and see the monument. So the monument did put Alberton on the map, and according to National Geographic Traveler in 2005, it listed the Guidestones as a feature in its geotourism map guide. I mean, I can't believe they got into this.
Well, if it's... Oh, sorry, but Appalachia ain't got much going on for it. They were probably hunting.
Yeah. I wonder what else is in there. And apparently this place, if you look
Appalachian Trail.
if you look up the Guidestones on Google, it says open 24 hours. So I guess it's pretty accessible to anyone driving by.
Ooh, I just see that Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has seen them.
Yes.
So that's a good endorsement, right?
Yes, exactly. I read about that too, and she has some comments on it, which I'm not surprised. So within a few months of building and revealing the monument, a coven of witches from Atlanta adopted the Guidestones as their home away from home. And they made weekend can't say the word.
Pilgrimages.
Okay. They made weekend pilgrimages to Alberton to stage various pagan rites. What Martin calls
dancing and chanting, all that kind of thing.
And at least one warlock witch marriage ceremony.
Aww.
Romantic spot.
Yeah.
And there are rumors that several chickens were beheaded there.
Okay.
Sounds on brand.
Yeah. And if they're not doing dogs, there's a lot of chicken farms in the area.
Also, chickens are not that nice. Hot take.
It is. They taste good.
They do, but they're also like pretty murderous.
And stupid.
Some people are gonna get upset that you said they're stupid.
They are, okay? Some birds are really smart. I'm convinced that crows are gonna take over the earth, but chickens is stupid.
Crows, dolphins, and
raccoons. Trash pandas are smart. And they got the thumbs for the animals.
Oh, they have the opposing thumbs.
They work together. Oh my god. Crows and raccoons together.
You're screwed.
Nightmares.
Oh yeah, so about chickens. This is going off a little bit of a tangent. I was listening to another podcast, surprisingly. But this was a serious thing that this man who was a chicken farmer, he said that, we don't have to feel bad about eating chickens because he says that when he keeps them in his farm, they're really, what's it called? As I said, murderous. Like if one chicken gets hurt, it has like, I don't know, it hurts his foot or something, they have to separate it or else they will all gang up on it and kill it. I did not know that.
Chickens are evil.
They are. Like they're like, oh,
And anyone who doesn't say that, they haven't been to a chicken farm.
That's what he says. Like, oh, don't worry. Whatever people do to it, it's not as bad as what they do to each other.
Yeah.
So that was a hot take.
On chickens.
Back to the stones. There was an article in 1981 on monthly magazine UFO Report that predicted that the true purpose of the Guidestones would be revealed within the next 30 years. Which
a little bit off.
Would be when? Already passed.
Yeah. It would have been, 2009 or 2010?
Ooh. Actually. Wait. When was 9/11?
2001.
Oh, okay.
It's probably referring to Obama.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would probably... I mean, I imagine that they wouldn't have liked that.
According to what the guys, the hints that they're dropping. UFO Report says that viewed from directly overhead, the Guidestones form an X, which would make for a perfect landing site. Not surprised.
Yeah.
So this place, became very popular and had many visitors, but many who read the 10 principles were unsettled by the first one.
Yeah, I imagine.
It says, as I'm going to repeat, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
When did they come up with that number?
I don't know. Actually, recently I was also listening to another podcast, and they were talking about how maybe a long time ago, when people, like religions or whatever, they said something is going to happen in like 100,000 years or whatever. Maybe for them it was a huge number. Like for us, it seems like a determined date, but maybe for people at a certain time, it was like a way of saying forever or something, infinity.
It's just, even by the 1980s, and the population was much larger than that.
Yeah.
That's like, what, around the Black Death, maybe?
Yeah, so, this could have made sense if it was a really, really long time ago, but this is 1980, and they're still writing 500 million, which is weird. And, of course, point number 2 that says guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity, raises flags because it sounds a lot like
eugenics.
Exactly.
Well, not only like by race, I imagine they're thinking like anyone with certain illnesses or with mental issues should not be reproducing. Yeah, I know, right? And they probably would come up with some random criteria, and if you don't meet them, you're not having babies. Especially if we're only supposed to have 500 million, I would not meet the criteria.
Yeah, I would definitely not. So, for anyone that needs a refresher on what eugenics means, although we have probably made it clear by now, as a refresher, it's the management of human breeding with the intent to produce people carrying desired characteristics such as intelligence, beauty,
physical fitness,
and even a docile nature.
Yeah,
so this is best known as the Nazi pursuit of the purified Aryan race, and so it sounds pretty bad.
Not a good thing.
Not a good thing. You never want to be associated with eugenics. So all in all, the Georgia Guidestones continue to be polarizing. And since some years ago, for some local ministers, as you mentioned before, the whole thing about sounding kind of biblical, especially point number 3, some ministers around the area say that they find it specifically problematic because it instructs to unite humanity with a living new language. And apparently in the book of Revelations, there is a warning of a common tongue and a one world government, because it says that it will be one of the accomplishments of the Antichrist.
Well, also that goes back to the Tower of Babel, Babylonia, where everyone spoke one common language, and then I don't remember the entire story, but I remember that God decided to separate us so that we couldn't understand each other. And that's the story of how we got the different languages. Like, God decided that we should all speak different languages, and so if we all understand each other, that goes against God's teaching, I guess.
Wow, no, actually, yeah, that makes sense. I remember that story. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it's a story.
Yeah.
I don't believe it, but
no,
yeah,
it's a fact.
Yeah, definitely a fact. Baby Jesus came down on the 8th day.
White baby Jesus.
White baby Jesus. He American. Said that I am white and I speak English.
American.
America. Greatest American ever. Jesus definitely spoke English, and all his favorite people speak English. But that was supposed to be, the biblical explanation for why we speak different languages.
Yeah.
Is the Tower of Babel.
I remember actually that story as well. Of course, it's part of the Bible, but my mom bought me this little book about Bible stories, and I would read them, and they had little pictures in them and everything.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah. I don't know, I found them interesting.
Yeah, I liked Old Testament.
Old Testament is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a kid, I thought it wasn't real, but it was still interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the whole purpose of separating the languages was that people were getting together and making up weird ideas or something.
Mm-hmm.
Was that it? I don't exactly remember. But...
Well, they decided to build the tower to reach God. Like people were getting too like self-important,
too
and they
organized.
thought they were equal to God. Yeah, they had a little bit of a diva issue, and then God was like, "Hello, I'm God. You guys cannot build a tower here. You can only talk to me if I say you can." So he made it so that we couldn't understand each other, so we couldn't work together, so we couldn't bother him in heaven.
Who is the bad guy here?
People. We're not supposed to do good. We're supposed to suffer. That way we believe in God.
Oh my God. So, you know, as you said, this whole uniting thing, it triggers people that are afraid of the whole, like, you know, one world government, the new world order, and, you know, the Illuminati and all of that. So visitors just kept, you know, going there. But after several failed investigations into the identity of R.C. Christian, public interest began to fade a bit. And until 1993, when people started to pay more attention to it, because Yoko Ono, she contributed a track called Georgia Stone to a tribute album, and she starts to chant the 10th and final guide, nearly verbatim, and she says, "Be not a cancer on earth, and leave room for nature, leave room for nature."
I guess, yeah, they already did the other ones.
Yeah, she's also very polarizing.
Yeah.
To say the least. So, as for Martin, in his interview, he said that occasionally Christian would call from a payphone, of course, a payphone at the Atlanta airport to say that he was in the area, and the two would meet up. But Martin...
But I thought he'd never see him again.
Right? No, that was
Christian, you lied. Oh, to Fedley, okay.
But he did meet up with Martin, but Martin said that he didn't question him any deeper. And he says that he actually lost interest in trying to find out more about his group or the mysterious endeavors that they seem to be taking on.
After he got a few death threats.
And the last time that he received any contact from him, though, was around the time of 9/11.
Of course.
Yeah. But since then, time has passed, and he was probably around his mid-80s at the time, Christian. So Martin says that he probably passed away. And of course, as you can imagine, the mysterious story of R.C. Christian and the cryptic nature of the Guidestones, it provides a lot of material for conspiracy theorists and armchair sleuths. And one of the most outspoken is a man called Mark Dice, an activist, of course.
Activist.
Who, by the way, was using a pseudonym at the time.
John Connor.
From the Terminator.
Yes.
Yeah. Who would choose that? Only this guy. I don't know how he's expected to be taken seriously, but he demanded that the Guidestones be smashed into 1,000,000 pieces.
No.
He claims that the monument has a
deep satanic origin.
A stance that has earned him plenty of coverage, both in print and on the web. According to Dice and many others, Christian was a high-ranking member of a Luciferian secret society at the forefront of the New World Order. According to Dice, the elite are planning to develop successful life extension technology in the next few decades that will nearly stop the aging process. And they fear that the current population of Earth is so high, the masses will be using resources that they need for themselves. And that the Guidestones are the New World Order's 10 Commandments. Another outspoken conspiracy hunter, Jay Weiner, who is a former Seattle radio commentator, he has invested a lot of time and energy into one of the most popular hypotheses, and is that the choice of name R.C. Christian alludes to the legendary 14th century founder of Rosicrucianism. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
So, the man's name, he was first identified as Frater, he was German, Frater C.R.C., and later revealed to have the name Christian Rosenkreuz. Rosicrucianism is a spiritual and cultural movement that arose in Europe in the early 17th century. And according to historians, it was influential on Freemasonry, and some members of the order have claimed that the leaders of the Rosicrucians had invented Freemasonry, and that only they knew the secret meaning of the Masonic symbols. The Rosicrucians are not just one of the most secretive of all secret organizations, but some claim that, of course, they are the hidden hand that has been guiding world events for centuries.
Yes.
Furthermore, the Rosicrucians claim to have mastered many occult, supernatural practices involving things like out-of-body projection, mind control, and even immortality.
Well, I can do that too.
This is kind of funny, but according to some people, and I'm not sure this is true, well, it's true that Rosicrucians have been associated for some reason with vampires. And on Reddit, there's these people that say, like, you know, that they're vampires, and they start talking about the stones and stuff. So it has to be true.
Okay.
And some people say that the Batman villain, Ra's al Ghul, was clearly inspired by Rosicrucian lore. I'm not sure about that.
Maybe, but maybe. It's Batman.
Yeah, right? Isn't Batman the Bat?
Yeah. Well, also, it's a comic book.
No, we're stating that these things are all facts today.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah. Batman is very serious. I should not joke about the Batman.
The Batman. So to make it more suspicious to conspiracy theorists, the Rosicrucian manifestos quote universal reformation of mankind through a science allegedly kept secret for decades until the intellectual climate might receive it. So
you mean the gay agenda? So confused.
Maybe that's what it is. It all makes sense now. It's all Obama's fault.
Definitely. Thanks, Obama.
God. Of course, you know, some people connect the stones as holding this information that the Rosicrucians have left for this universal reformation, and that the time to be received is past some apocalyptic event. Not surprising.
Yeah.
And so looking up about this, the stones, I actually found that, you know, Alex Jones, he did some reporting at the Georgia Guidestones.
Reporting in quotation marks.
And I actually watched the video.
I know.
I have forgotten how loud he is.
Yeah.
He's a very loud man.
He is.
I mean, I remember seeing some videos of him, you know, when he was on TV, like InfoWars and stuff. And of course, he's like, you know, screaming into this.
Yeah.
You know, I remember that. It was weird to see him just screaming into like the open fields. He's same voice, just screaming. And okay, so first of all, what he says, just to open the whole, report, he opens with, "We are here at the birthplace of the modern depopulation movement, spearheaded by Ted Turner and, of course, Bill Gates."
Yes.
So actually, some locals around the area do believe that Ted Turner is related to this.
Why?
Some people that have been interviewed for this report. This is very serious journalism.
Yeah.
He says, he's a Georgia local, and I'm just gonna send you the link so you can read it.
The rumor here is that Ted Turner built them. Jives with a lot of his beliefs, his big money, and his absolutely zany personality. Sounds legit.
It does. And Alex Jones is just screaming into I don't know, into
the microphone that is 5 meters away from him. It's still super noisy.
It's very loud. It's a very loud person. So he started screaming. He started talking. I was really serious when I said screaming right now. I was supposed to say
indoor voice.
So he had, the funny thing is that, first of all, I was watching this video and the whole part when he says Bill Gates, I wasn't sure if he's joking or if he's serious. I'm pretty sure he's serious because he sounds very serious. But I don't know how to say this with a straight face. And actually, after he keeps talking about how this is created by the elite and it's evil and it's an enemy, actually one of the boom mic people, he just takes off his headphones and he just gets in front of the he gets I did, first of all, I had difficulty watching this video, but I'm glad that I did. Because the guy, he just couldn't help himself, and he takes off the headphones. He has a cap, he also takes that off, and he goes in front of the camera and he says that he had been there before and he had apparently seen people who he calls real Americans, who, I'm going to send you the link,
hated the Stones and pissed on them. Took their dogs to piss on them because it is the enemy.
What is it with all the pissing?
That's how you show somebody you love them.
Oh my god, no shade on people that do appreciate some pissing on. But yeah.
One thing, I'm still confused. I cannot find out how much they cost. Is that one of the things that they aren't allowed to discuss? Is the price of them?
Yep.
Of course.
It's written on the information that the guy was supposed to keep secret. So we don't know how much this is supposed to be.
Because that would help to figure out who could have been able to afford it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I was looking for...
Because it's not it's not a company. Yeah, it's a private organization or group, and there were different laws about what you could or couldn't do then. I mean, you didn't have limited liability corporations then, so it would have been a smaller group of people who would have been able to afford it back in the 1970s or 80s.
As you said, that would give a clue as to who these people are, because it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they also show in the video the report by Alex Jones. And this is something that I read, and that it is true that there were some cameras installed there because there was a case of it being vandalized in 2014. And they show the cameras, they zoom into the cameras. And this is interesting. The Guidestones, the land that was bought by Christian, he rewrote the owner and he passed on the land to the county. So now the county owns the land where the Guidestones are.
They make money off of them, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing. But it's kind of weird why he would donate it to the county. I mean, it's all really sketchy. So after this whole problem about it being vandalized, and people wrote there's pictures of it, and it says "fuck you NWO," stuff like that. The real Americans.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever people say the real whatever, it's usually the very, very small minority.
The opposite.
And everyone's like, "What the hell are you?" It's the same thing here as in Japan too. So people that don't live here.
You don't know the real Japan.
Real Japan. And recently I've seen it too. I mean, there's these white vans and this this nationalistic movement.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, they're just blasting on the, what's it called, the speakerphone, and have the Japanese flag and sometimes the imperial flag. The one that triggers me.
Yeah, that's the one that they like better, I think.
The bad one.
Yeah. The racist one.
They walk around with that and they start talking about how
foreigners are evil and we shouldn't listen to communists or Chinese people. But then they wave at Ren and me. I'm like, I think you guys are confused.
And what's it called? Oh yeah, and they refer to themselves as being, you know, Japanese. They're kind of like the real Japanese people, you know. Yeah, but you know, most people don't care, so
yeah,
it tends to happen. And whenever people claim that they are the real whatever, they're usually not.
Yeah. Fake news.
Actually, recently around here, there was that van. You know, driving around here. And
we had one here recently too, yeah.
There's elections, I think, local elections coming up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, I'm not sure. But it was like last weekend. And my husband and my daughter, he's Japanese. And my daughter, you know, she's mixed. She's Japanese, you know. And they were walking around there. And the van was like, you know, going around the station. And now recently my daughter has realized that I'm not Japanese. Like she has the whole concept has hit her now.
Yeah.
She's 7. I mean, before she understood, of course, that, you know, I'm not Japanese, but it's very recent that she has kind of understood the outsider or minority aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like you know, I'm one of the few.
You're the bad one.
One of the few people that, you know, are in the gaikokujin, which means foreigner group. So she asked her dad, who are these people? And he told them, oh, these are people that are weird and they think that
they want to keep our country pure.
You know, going back, they would love these stones.
Yeah, they would.
And
no, they wouldn't, because it has Chinese on it.
Oh, true, it does. Traditional Chinese.
Yeah,
it doesn't have Japanese. Ooh, that's a problem. And he explained to her that these are people that don't really like foreigners. And
do they like Four Seasons?
Oh my god, that's another podcast.
Four Seasons.
Oh my god. So she told me, oh mom, I saw the van, whatever. And they were screaming and they were weird.
Yeah.
And but the next morning she woke up and she came over to me and she hugged me and she said, mom, I had this really bad dream.
Aww.
And yeah, I said, what was it, you know? And she told me, I had a dream that the people in the vans, they came over and they took you away and you were not allowed to be in Japan anymore.
Aww.
She said that and I was like, oh my god, you know, I'm not going anywhere, you know, don't worry. But I don't know, it was a little sad.
Yeah.
She's 7.
Yeah, worried about mommy getting deported.
Yeah,
because of a bunch of crazy people.
Going back to the Guidestones. So the land, as I said, that owns the Guidestones, and it is owned by the county. They placed 2 wireless cameras. They're wireless, okay? And they were installed.
What do you think government money goes to?
Yeah, but, you know, because they're wireless, people say that they were never powered.
Dun, dun, dun.
And of course, on the video by Alex Jones, you see the camera, you know, his camera, where these cameras are, and just like zoom into it, like very slowly.
Dramatic.
Very dramatic. That, you know, I'm really glad that I got through it because it was very educational, and also it made me wonder. You know, so Alex Jones, this is a little bit about him that I was wondering when I saw this video. Okay, so, you know, when he talks to the camera, he's like, you know, just blasting his voice into it. But when he's talking, you know, outside the camera too, he's like screaming.
Yeah.
So is this his normal voice, like just the screaming one?
He might. I mean, my sister's super loud, and some people are just loud.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Like, she's the person who you can have the phone away from you and she's not on speakerphone. It's that loud. And that's all the time. Super, super noisy.
Oh my God. But,
Proud American trait.
But I don't think she's as off-putting.
No, she's not Alex Jones. I mean, she'll talk about normal things. I tell you. She's not talking about the water turning frogs gay.
Yeah, recently he was talking about like, some weird stuff. Well, obviously I'm not surprised.
Well, I'm looking at the county where the stones are, Elbert County, and it's outside of Atlanta, but it's far enough away that it is very Republican, and it looks like it's only increased since like the 80s. It's just gotten more and more. So now in 2020 it was 67.9% Republican.
Wow.
So I would imagine that in general the views that they have would align with the Stones, kind of kooky religious.
But Alex Jones says that they're the enemy, though.
But I mean, that would explain, not
like
for Alex Jones, but why he would have left them to the county. It's not the state, it's the county specifically. And I would imagine it's safer than leaving it to an individual who you don't know. Are they going to uphold, the views of the crazy Stones or not?
See, that's why it's weird, because I feel like it seems like it's going one way, but then just kind of goes the other way again.
Well, it's that weird, kind of hypocritical Christian view of the world, right?
Yeah, like kind of cherry picking things.
Yeah, like we want peace and love, but we want to murder 60% of the humans on the planet and only speak English.
The one language.
Yeah. God, it doesn't work both ways.
And okay, so but some new information from the University of Georgia itself. One of the professors there, Loris Magnani, sorry if I mispronounced the name, has said that, quote, "But today, astronomers say that the astronomical features on the Guidestones are crude. It's an abacus compared to Stonehenge." So, I don't know.
Not quite as smart as the ancients.
They were supposed to be the one. I mean, someone from the University of Georgia apparently supposedly helped to build some.
They should have gotten a Mayan or something to help out instead.
I think maybe, I don't know, was the person just trolling them? I don't know.
Or else, like, I know that in modern times, we don't understand. Well, I mean, like, compared to ancient, like, again, you look at the Mayans or the Aztecs or Stonehenge, they had such a good understanding of how the stars work because they didn't have the technology that we have. And then it's like we lost that knowledge, I guess, because we found different ways to get around it. And then now we're learning it again, with computers and through super high-powered telescopes that can give us better readings. But yeah, a lot of ancient technologies were much better at predicting this stuff than we are.
That makes sense. I mean, for them it was actually important. For us it's just kind of like an interest. But for them it was like their whole, what's it called, livelihood dependent on that.
Or how they built their temples and their buildings is amazing.
It is. But it was aliens.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have the aliens helping us.
Okay, yet, despite the whole confusion and mystery, or perhaps because of this, the monument has a devoted community dedicated to figuring out just what the mysterious rocks are for. And like most conspiracy theories, the quest will probably never end. Martin passed away. He actually passed away soon after the interview that I am quoting here. And the words that he left us with about R.C. Christian are,
"All along he said that who he was and where he came from had to be kept a secret. He said mysteries work that way. If you want to keep the people interested, you can let them know only so much."
And that's all we know about the Georgia Guidestones.
That sounds like a good way to build a mystery.
Who? What do you think?
Well, I think I was seeing this video on YouTube, but it was actually a documentary, and they were looking into that one church in France, the one that all the Japanese people are obsessed with. That's on the little island.
Oh, I don't know this.
Oh, what's that one called? It's on like a little swamp, and then it gets cut off from land. They were exploring the church, and they can look into new things now because of some like radio wave or sound wave technology, and they can see how deep the church goes into granite because it is cleaved into the granite. Mont Saint-Michel, that's it. It's on Mont Saint-Michel. And that would be interesting technology to use on this site. You know, if it's granite, you could see, is there anything buried without even having to dig into it? And what is buried where? And then you could pull it up, you know, look into their time capsule.
The time capsule.
Because they've been able to see how much farther the original chapel was that the monks built when they first came to the island. And they haven't had to do any work on the cathedral itself. So that would be fun to do here, I think, if they get that. And I would imagine they would have that at Georgia University of Georgia.
I wonder if anyone thought about that.
Well, you need the money. You can't just go around. You got to be like, hey, I've got this device that measures the waves. And it's not a huge device. I've seen it. And you just put it down and it measures the waves on different stones and stuff. And so you can get a picture of what is underground, basically. So that would be fun. I don't know. I could imagine it being kind of a troll thing, or else something similar to Joseph Smith and the Mormons, you know?
Right, the whole tablet thing.
It gives me those vibes. A little bit more sophisticated. But they might have seen, like, look what he did out of these fake-ass hieroglyphics. Imagine if we could get that going nowadays.
It's a pretty, actually, it's like kind of on brand for like an American kind of thing.
Yeah, it is, right?
Right, yeah. It makes sense that they would go about it this way. So the whole like Rosicrucian thing, I hadn't heard about it, but of course I heard about the whole, you know, Freemasonry or whatever.
Yeah.
But they say, I don't know, they say that they're very secretive and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of that is true. I mean, yeah, the Freemasons are real, but
yeah,
the whole thing about being, you know, what's it called? So having so much power and being so mystical or whatever, I'm not sure. Sure.
They did have quite a bit of power in the early days of America.
Right.
Like, we know that there were some founding fathers who were Freemasons. Yeah, how much they're in modern day government, who knows? But
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting for me is that also, like, okay, so you know how people talk about it being, okay, so they go further and say, like, it's the Illuminati and just keeps going further and New World Order and everything. But, so I was following, you know, these people that are very serious about it.
Yeah.
But, so, like, if you look at the stuff, though, like, I mean, it doesn't, it does make, I wouldn't say it makes sense, but if it's pretty, how do you say, what's it called? When something is steady, what's it called? It's very,
consistent.
There we go. It's very consistent in what the people see, like the symbolism and type of stuff. And they say that it's, you know, like Beyonce or like Lady Gaga and everything, right? And like how the music industry is part of the Illuminati and everything. And they're talking about covering the left eye or something. It's part of like a symbolism of the Illuminati or whatever. And if you look at pictures though, like it's true. Like whenever I sound crazy, time to put my like tinfoil hat on, but whenever you see like what's it called, photo shoots or album covers, when someone is covering the eye, it is always a left eye.
But that's probably because of personal preference and the fact that most people are right-handed.
Yeah, so I think, see, it's a kind of like causation, not causation.
Yeah.
What is it? Not causation, but
Correlation.
Correlation. There we go. So I guess you can find whatever you want to find and everything, right?
I could understand, like, yeah, it probably happens more with the left eye than the right, but I imagine that's because most people are left-handed. I mean, if I had to cover up an eye, I usually do cover up my right hand because I'm left-handed.
Oh.
But that's because I'm left-handed, and most people don't have to think about that kind of stuff.
Right. It's just by default whatever is more natural to you, right?
Yeah.
The whole Illuminati thing and whatever, like, people like to go off on that.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory and stuff. And I don't know. I don't think it's real.
I don't think. Yeah. And it definitely fits at the time. I mean, it was the Cold War, and it's in, the Bible Belt. And so I can understand why it happened and why people would build the Guidestones, but it also seems like they have maybe some alternative reasons for making them.
Yeah, who would be it though? I mean, who would spend that much money on this? Like a kooky person?
Kooky Jesus people. Have you seen those churches down there? Right. We got the fanciest churches in the whole world going on.
That is true. I mean, there's a lot of funding if you think about that. Huh.
They get so much money, and then, I just imagine it was somebody who needed to avoid taxes or something. Maybe they accidentally spent it on the wrong thing, and then they're like, look at my giant Jesus rocks. I'm a legit church.
Oh my God. And it's like all like, all like mystical looking. You can't prove them wrong.
Yeah.
What do you need to, by the way, what do you need to prove that you're like a church? Or
to prove that you're a church? It's really easy. I remember John Oliver did it. It's super easy. Like, you can have a little place in a strip mall, and then you stick a sign on it that says church, and you just have to prove that you really and honestly believe something. And then you hold regular services.
That's it.
And regular can be anything that you say. And so a lot of people make it once a week or a couple times a month. And then you can register as a nonprofit.
Oh, wow.
Super easy.
That's awful.
Yeah, I know. But that's in America.
Right.
Like in other countries. I know in Germany, it's quite difficult to register as a religious organization. I don't know about Japan. That would be fun.
I was wondering
Start a church here.
How it is here. Because, what's it called? I mean, there's
all
these
I've seen some, yeah. And there's also a lot of New Wave Christian groups here.
Yeah.
Trying to convert all the heathens.
There's like a lot of New Wave, also like Buddhist-based things. Like you see some people handing out the papers about like happiness something or whatever. Especially at the stations. I wonder how easy or difficult it is to register here. But I'm surprised that it's so easy in America.
No, it's super easy.
Now that you mentioned this, is something that I didn't think about. It probably could be some type of loophole, just for financial purposes, and we're all kind of thinking that it's like mystical, and it's just.
They're like, I gotta keep my millions.
And you leave like a cool, monument to like mess with people. And you're like, he's like, you'll never see me again. Like, it's all, you get to have fun with that.
Yeah. I could definitely imagine it.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Somebody who was bored.
I mean, also it was the 1980s. There was not like internet or anything.
No. You had to find some way to entertain yourself.
Oh my God, the Reddit people. There was no Reddit back then.
I know. Homemade Reddit. Homebrew.
Same principle. Just the vampires there. And by the way, the
newspaper.
The funny thing is that what's it called? So talking about Reddit and the Guidestones. This is so I was looking, for information about this, and of course it led me through this, as everyone says, like the Reddit rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And so I found videos about people doing these documentaries about the Guidestones. Yeah. And of course they lead to YouTube. But the subreddits, there's these crazy subreddits called mealtime videos. And they have a lot of those about the Georgia Guidestones. And then it's on poop time videos.
Which one takes longer?
They're all like the same picture, like, you know, the same, what's it called? Like, it leads you to the same video.
Yeah.
So who are these people? So they were like watching the same videos during mealtime and they're pooping.
But which one, like, are they the same exact video?
Yeah.
So is it like 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
I don't remember the video because I just remember seeing the link to it and I didn't click on it because I had enough with Alex Jones one. I had enough information from that. It was so informative. I like how the guy like felt that he couldn't, you know, he's like, no, I need to just like, testify my truth. He just like takes off the cap, pulls out the headphones.
Can I just say something?
Oh yeah, he does. He just comes up, you know, the camera. And he's like, you know, he starts talking, and Alex Jones, he steps back.
Yes,
he steps back, and the guy is talking about how people are pissing on it, and Alex Jones starts pointing with his hand toward the stones. You know, like this. We're talking about this. You know, the only thing in the whole landscape. And he's like, this one. You know, yeah, the enemy and stuff like that. He's just very
wow.
I very interesting reporting.
I will have to look this video up. He's an entertaining man. Was this before or after he started selling nutritional supplements?
Oh, well, this was 2020, November.
Oh, so he would have been selling. Did he push anything? Any of his protein powders? Did they help to understand the stones?
No. Sadly, or else I would have gone straight to that website to order. I want to be just as smart as this man. He is definitely energetic. That's all I gotta say. I envy his enthusiasm.
Yeah. I don't envy his social media ban, though.
What?
I don't envy his social media ban.
Oh.
He's not allowed on, like, anything anymore.
He had some recently allegations, right?
Oh, yeah. He's got allegations on everything.
Real allegations.
Yeah. He's a loon.
Not surprised. Yeah. You know, he's a rare breed because... You know, when he's saying the whole thing, like, what's it called? Bill Gates. You know how, what's it called? You know, other pundits, like Bill O'Reilly, you know, when he's talking on his TV show, you know, he would say something and then he would be like, yeah, or he would say some comment and you could tell that he's, you know, trying to be sarcastic, you know.
Yeah.
But this guy...
Question it.
Yeah, you know, kind of like, oh, he's making like some type of joke. But this guy, like, there's no sarcasm. Like, everything is just dead serious.
Yeah.
Like, how could he do this?
Money?
I mean, I don't know. This is not a podcast about Alex Jones, but I did find him very entertaining. I have forgotten how was it, as I said, enthusiastic he is about whatever he's talking about. Yeah.
He gets passionate.
Yeah. He's like, and his crew too. They're all taking his powder. Anyway, so thank you for being here. I hope to have you again.
Entertaining.
Yeah, it's very educational. I'm just like Alex Jones, just helping.
You are. Oh, he's from Dallas. That explains something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's from Rockwell.
Is that a weird place?
Well, it's a suburb. Everybody really lives in suburbs, but...
Oh. See, I needed you here for this type of
information. Well, I used to live in McKinney, which is about 30 minutes away from where he grew up. I mean, it's just... Yeah, it's a pretty white place. Pretty interesting. But it explains some of it.
How far is that from Austin?
To drive to Austin, it's about like 4.5 hours.
Oh wow, okay. I thought you lived way closer.
No, Texas is huge. No, that's a short drive.
Oh, right.
Because my sister was dating her husband long term for a couple years, and he was still up in the Dallas area, and she went to UT at Austin, and they would drive up almost every weekend. Very doable distance.
Wow, that is better than Michael and Holly.
Yeah. It is. That's one state. And that's only like half the state.
Yeah, I always wonder why they couldn't just meet up somewhere.
I know.
That was it. Deviation to the topic, but wow, that's a long drive.
No,
I mean, I know Texas is huge, but Oh yeah. I know Texas is huge, but I mean, I didn't know. I thought you lived closer. Yeah.
No. Dallas to Austin is at least 4 hours, depending on traffic.
That's a lot of room for ideology changes.
Yeah. Dallas is a pretty East Coast Southern, and then Austin definitely feels a bit more Southwest compared to it.
I don't know anything about this, and I'm learning.
They're very different places.
You're also very what's it called? Informed, very well informed, and
I'm a gentleman and a scholar.
Gentleman and a scholar, just like Alex Jones. This is what I'm getting out of this. Yes. Like, let's all be like him.
Yes.
This is not part of the podcast. Like, this is just something that I'm arriving to right now. The truth is being revealed.
No, we need to listen to Alex Jones.
I'm gonna rename this.
The Alex Jones Gospel.
Oh my god. Okay, well, thanks.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for sticking around. Okay, I hope to have you back. I have other stuff that's interesting, and that I hadn't heard about too. So.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
We're all about education here.
It's very educational.
Okay, so thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thanks for joining me today. This podcasting thing is getting more interesting and fun every time, and I see my subscribers and downloads have increased a lot, and I can't be any happier. I am really just a few episodes into this little journey, and I'm thankful for you letting me keep trying to improve myself and giving me the time of day for that. Thanks to my friend Sarah. She's a very talented cross-stitcher, and she's also a freelance writer. You can find her on littlestabstudios.com. I love that name. And also she's on Instagram and Pinterest at little_stab_studios. She's got some really fun patterns, and she's got all these YouTube videos, tutorials. If you're looking for a new hobby, or if you are already into cross-stitching and you need help with how to use the software and all, you can find her there. As for me, find me on Instagram at itgotweird.podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe to the feed. And please leave feedback if you can, and drop me a line at itgotweird.podcast@gmail.com. You can send me your scary personal stories so I can read them on the listener story episodes, or you can suggest a topic or anything like that. Also, if you want to chip in to help me cover podcasts, I have a Patreon, and I'm also on Coffee, and that's on the show notes. Thanks again for joining this little campfire of mine today, where the little wisdom s'more is live your truths like Alex Jones. Just live out loud. And leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Well, this has been Elise with And Then It Got Weird. Campfire